What's up everyone, Ronco Pop back here with another video, and we are continuing my Jawtober month of drawing Halloween villain movie killers, I guess you would call them. Today we are drawing Michael Myers from Halloween. These are just a couple few reference pictures I picked up off of the internet. Yeah, I thought I'd do Michael Myers today, especially since I guess today is Halloween Kills, the new Michael Myers, new Halloween movie that comes out. So let's get into this. Put up a new layer here. Let's see, get rid of that one. New layer here. In my brush library, I'm just going to use the Procreate pencil, and I'm just using a light blue color. So, as I've said in my previous videos, if you haven't seen them, I am not a huge horror movie fan. I watch a few of them here and there. The ones I probably watched the most were the Freddy Krueger Nightmare Before Christmas, Nightmare on Elm Street, and the Jason movies, Friday the 13th. I never really got into Michael Myers or the Halloween movies, but just like Jason, not as many as Freddy Krueger, or not as many as Jason, more than Freddy Krueger, I believe. Halloween is like one of the most popular Halloween horror movie, killers franchises out there. So, and most of these characters that I am drawing for my Jawtober month, they all have a great look to them. There's something very aesthetic about them that, really sticks out. And I can't remember who said it. Somewhere along the line, someone said, if you can tell what your character looks like or who your character is in a silhouette, then you've done a great character design. And I think maybe Michael Myers, for sure. Jason, I mean, you couldn't really tell it would be just like an egghead for it since he's wearing the mask, but still, you could probably get that. Freddy Krueger, obviously, because he has the claws. So these have, they're simple, especially Jason with the hockey mask and Michael Myers just with the white, lifeless eyes. Super simple, but they hold the test of time. And I think that's what appeals to them also. They have this, people don't think about character design when they are, going to a movie and getting scared out of their seats. They're like, oh man, did you know? Maybe Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger might be the exception. They're like, oh wow, that is a crazy cool design, right? But for the most part, I don't think people think mostly about character design when they're in the theaters. When you're just a moviegoer and you're looking at all that stuff, do you really think about that? I mean, I don't usually. And I know some people do, especially creatives. We like to get into our heads a little bit. We're like, oh, why does this work? Why does that work? When I go to the theater, I'm going to be entertained. I don't want to worry about, oh man, does this make sense? I try not to fixate on plot points or plot holes, I just want to enjoy the movie. Okay, so we got my initial roughs done. I like to do 2 sets of roughs a lot of times. So I'll drop the opacity on these. New layer on top of that. This time I'm going to use the same pen, but a red color. And this one is where I really try to find out where I'm going with this. We got the hairline, a little bit of a sideburn. His hair is kind of, sometimes it sticks out, sometimes it doesn't. So for my picture, I'm going to do more of a stylized look on it. Kind of just have it out there like that. Like I said, his eyes are just dull and lifeless. I shouldn't say dull because they are menacing, but there's no pupils or anything. They're stuck in shadows. That's what I'm going to try to do. Just keep them dark. Alright, and then we got, he wears this jumpsuit type thing. Sometimes it has a collar on it, sometimes the collar is sticking up. So what I'm going to do is put a little collar on there. And then his hands. Let's see. put the line straight down. Sometimes when you're wearing one of these gloves, they helps with the smudges, but sometimes it misses a line when you're drawing and there's like a little gap in your line. So you have to be wary of that if you ever use these. Alright, he's going to be holding the blade. The thumb there. Fingers. For a little while I was on a kick of only drawing 3 fingers, just because, as you can see, I use a very cartoony style. And so I was using only 3 fingers for a little while. But I switched back to using 4 fingers, just because I kind of like the way that looks a little bit better. Alright, kind of going off the page there a little bit, so we'll have to shrink this down just a little bit. This is for the handle and the blade. So we'll shrink this down a bit, just so I can get everything in, and then I'll put it back up to a bigger size in a second. But I think we are getting to where I want to be on this picture. So fist, and this work jumpsuit type thing he wears is kind of goes over his whole body. It's not separated, so I'm just going to keep it kind of like that. Alright, I'm going to get rid of this reference picture here. I'm going to move this one to the side so I can use this kind of for a color guide. Get rid of my initial rough underline drawing and expand my top roughs. Let's see here. How big do I want him to fill up this page? And go about right. Yeah, that looks good. And make sure I got this head right here before I go in with my inks. I think this looks pretty good though. A good way to check to see if you have everything in there and if it looks okay. I think this is default, but you can flip it. It is in options also, but I have it flipped horizontally. And a lot of times if it is looking wrong, your eye might be up to the top or off to the sides, your fingers might be out of place, something like that. A lot of times it is easier to catch those mistakes if you flip your drawing and look onto the side. But everything looks pretty good, so I'm going to flip it back to the normal way. I'm going to drop the opacity on these lines. New layer on top of that, switch to black ink, and we'll use my studio pen. Regular Procreate studio pen that I've just upped the streamline to keep my lines a little bit straighter. Go in here with the face first, and we're going to be at about a 30%. Again, the percent and everything, it really depends on how big of a canvas you're working on, and your preference on if you want your lines as thick as they are. A lot of times when I'm working with a single image, I do like the line thickness on my drawings to be, you know, pretty wide. That didn't come out that great. Alright. And we got his hair. Let's do a little bit of that. There is a gap here that'll probably fill in the whole thing with color, but that's okay. I kind of like the loose gap look on it. Go down to his neck now. Okay, so we got the collar in there. Kind of connects. Let's put a little zipper right there. And I don't know if we want to put a shirt underneath. We'll figure that out later. Next, we'll put in his hands. Just put a little bit of a wrinkle there in his clothes, just because, like I said, it is kind of like a onesie that he's wearing. Overalls or pullovers. I can't remember what exactly they're called. And we'll go down to this line here. But yeah, Michael Myers If you watched my other videos, I think it was the Chucky one, I talked about my cousins would have, you know, some of these horror movie toys, because they did usually come out in the 80s, and of course in the 80s everything you could buy as a toy pretty much. So they had that, and I think Michael Myers, if I'm not mistaken, is Michael Myers the ones where it's like no, that must be Jason. I can't remember. Anyways, my point is yeah, when I'd go over to my cousins, we would all mess around and be making those noises when we played with the toys. Alright, looks pretty good there. Draw his little head here. And this is a mask. So what I'm going to do is go back in here. Just kind of put a line. So that means the skin will be underneath, but the top half will be the mask color. Now we've got like these brows here that are just scowling. And we'll fill these in here. Alright, we are getting there. I'm going to do a new layer for the knife so it'll make it easier to erase parts. Do the handle. And then for the blade, have a little bit curved. Goes out there. And then we'll come back in. Alright, so now with that, I'm going to erase the handle that goes through the fingers. And then I'm going to erase part of his hand. Whoops. That would be, that the knife handle would be covering. Yep, that looks good. Merge that layer down with the rest of the inks. That is all set. Do like a little bit of a line, not pressing very hard. That would be the zipper line for his pants. And yeah, Michael Myers, pretty simple design, but very spooky, very mean character. Let me flip this. I think the eyes are off a little bit. They kind of are. So with it drawn on the flip perspective, flip it back. That looks a little better. Alright, so now we will get into coloring this. Set this to reference. Lock it down. I'm going to make my roughs disappear. And we'll put a new layer underneath my ink layer. Let's see. So we're going to use it kind of a grayish white color for his mask. And as I said, it covers the whole thing. It's a little too gray. Yeah, that's a little bit better. For his skin color, we're going to use this color here. These are already some colors I've already had pre-made up already from other drawings. You can pretty much make your own skin tones and just tap the color here. And you can make all these different skin tones like that. I'll have to do a video on some of these things in case anyone doesn't know. And if you don't like it, hold it down and it should delete it. Just like that. Alright, going back to my drawing. Okay, so for the hair, it is kind of like a brownish. And because it is open here, and I don't want to close it, I just like the way it looks with it open. I'm going to do this. And because the whole thing is colored now, what I can do is add a new layer on top, make into a clipping mask, go to my selection tool right here, and now just trace around the hair part when you're close to the face. We can erase it later if we need to, but all this will be colored that brown because you'll have it on a clipping mask. Makes it a lot easier that way. Let's finish this off here. And because I don't really need this to stay a clipping mask, I only made it a clipping mask because it made it easier to color the hair. I can just merge it down. And now it's all part of the same color links, or colored inks once again. Alright, for his bodysuit, we're going to try to sample this color over here. Try that. A little too dark for this drawing, because I do want to add some shadows. Yeah, that, make it a little grayer. That's better. And for the zipper, just doing that. For his skin, we're going to just sample from the neck part I already did. And for his hand over here. We are getting there pretty fast now. Do another brown color for this. And for the blade, we'll do silver. Looks good. What I'm going to do is add some blood to that blade. And I am actually going to have it, whoops, kind of dripping off the blade as well. Alright, that's pretty good. Color in the blood here, and we will pretty much be done with the colors. Alright, looks good. Let's add some shadows here. Just gonna go new layer on top of my color layers. Pick a dark brown. And I just picked the my normal drawing pen because it keeps it a little bit more streamlined, so this lines look a little bit straighter with the shadows. The light is coming in from this side, so I'm going to put some shadows on the other side here. And I think I'm going to time lapse through this, but just so you can see what I'm doing. What I've done is kind of created an outline here, and then I'll just go in with my normal way I kind of do my shadows. I create the outline and then I fill it in with my selection tool. Select the big part, connect it, and then drop and fill there, and that way the whole thing gets filled in. Okay, so I'm going to fill in the rest of these shadows, and I will see you back here in a couple seconds. Okay, we're all done with the shadows now on Michael Myers. Now the next thing we'll do is to add a background to this guy. I'm going to get rid of this reference here. First thing I'm going to do is new layer underneath my color layers. I am going to do my typical Gaussian blur. I'm going to use a dark blue for this. And what I'm going to do is keep it kind of low. I still have it on reference, that's why. Alright. Now with this layer is still selected, go up to my adjustments, Gaussian blur, select the layer, and we are going to do that. Now if you wanted to keep it there, and that's all you wanted to do, just tap it and we are set. That would be fine, but I want to add a little bit more atmosphere to this thing. I'm going to take this a little bit higher. And what I'm going to do now is on a new layer over the top of the blurred layer I just made, go back to my brushes, go into my paintings, and these are all default brushes inside Procreate, I believe. I have added a few in other areas, but I think these are all default ones. And let's see, I think I want to go to, actually let's go to artistic, and some of these are really cool different design types for the brushes. Let's try hearts first, and I'm going to use a kind of a light gray, and what I want is kind of like a smoky, cloudy type of atmosphere in the back of him. I don't think I like that one. I'm going to undo that, go back to my brushes, let's go to Terralia. Oh, I kind of like that. Yeah, that looks really good. Let's up the size of that. Drop the opacity, up the size a little bit more. Yeah, I really like that. I wonder if I can change the opacity on the layer itself. You can, so just drops it a little bit more. It's not as bright as the other one. And yeah, very subtle, smoky, misty, foggy background behind Michael Myers. Alright, and that's going to do it for this video today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you found it informative, helpful, anything like that, please leave me a comment down below and let me know what you liked about it. Let me know what else you want me to cover in these videos for the future of the videos and the future of the channel. I'm trying to decide on, other things to post about drawing, different tips and tricks maybe in Procreate, how to create comics, because I am creating my comic book inside Procreate. Yeah, so any kind of ideas, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know how you like this video. And above all else, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to get my subscribers counts up on this channel. And we will see you in the next video. Thanks again.